So we've got to the end of the season, and well, it's been an interesting end of the season. As you probably saw from the last few videos, we never really had a chance of automatic promotion, but I did think that we'd probably get through to the quarterfinals through the league. It didn't quite turn out that way, so we're in for a grind again. So yes, as you can see, rather disappointing in the end. We ended up finishing 5th, which, given that we were leading the table for most of the first half of the season, is really disappointing. We did have a pretty poor end of the season. We managed 3 wins in the last, 4, 8, 12, 14 games, and that's frankly not very good form. So we've ended up having to play the full set of playoffs for the 3rd time in a row, of course. So there's something to be said for that. We keep getting into it, but we now need to get out of it, and it's not going to be easy. I think we know that, having been through it a couple of times before, we know it's not going to be easy. But we will start against Messina. Before I do that, though, I just want to clear up one thing. Something that happened, which I will explain now. I'm just going to have a little bit of a flashback here, because last video you saw my new youth intake, which was, unlike what I'd been warned, not very good. Somehow, for no obvious reason, I've got a brand new computer and loads of memory. The computer ran out of memory and FM shut itself down, and that was before I'd managed to save it. So we have a new set. They're still not very good. Colucci's the best of them, and as you can see, he ain't getting in my team. So it makes no difference as far as the gameplay is concerned. And I don't think we went on any days at all, so I haven't lost any major significance. I would have been very annoyed if there'd been very good regens in that intake, but there weren't. So yeah, just wanted to let you know there's not save scumming going on here or anything like that. It was the computer messing up, nothing more than that. So the names have changed. The position, in fact, has changed here. He was a centre back before. He still sort of is, but I mean, he's not. I don't think he's going to be a significant player for me anyway. He may play once or twice, but no more than that. And the 3 strikers that we were promised are still not really strikers, and they're certainly not very good. So just a little update on that, just to let you know that it was a slightly strange thing, but no foul play going on here. Right, so here we are at the beginning of the playoffs, and we have ACR Messina away. Game that I feel like it probably should be a win for us. Let's just have a quick look at our record against them. It'd be interesting to see. 2 wins and a draw. So 2 wins, a draw, and a defeat. Bit of a shame that we come into this, of course, in really bad form. I can kind of almost wish that I'd had a really bad start to the season and made a late run to the playoffs. But we work with what we work with. I've just noticed Gianmarco Nesta is now trained as a right back. The frustrating thing about that is that would be very helpful, but now he's leaving. So, oh well, it's a shame. So 3rd time lucky, let's hope. We've got Messina first in the long run of games that we're going to have. God knows who we'll be playing. It'll be presumably one of these teams or a couple of the teams who come in later. Juventus under 23s. I don't know if they can get promoted though. Don't think they can. Don't know if Juventus under 23s are allowed to go into Serie B or not. Volpe forward to Australia, and it's gone wide. So the 1-leg games. So will be decided tonight. That's a goal. It might have been disallowed, but it's a goal. It's a shame. I am talking nonsense. It is based on ranking, and I'm never quite sure why, because I don't think it's to do with. So we win if it's a draw. That's worth bearing in mind. It's complicated about how that works. It's not necessarily based on league position, because of course you've got teams from different leagues are playing in this playoff, so it's a bit more complicated than that. I think it might be based on number of points, so it would be based on league position if you're in the same league. Not been a great start, because we only need to draw this. It's not a disaster yet, but we need to try and get back into it quickly. Take Paolini off, because he's not been playing very well. And there we are, we get back into it soon after half time. Pellegrini finds the net from a pretty tough angle. And as it stands, we are going through. Never got past more than one round of this, I don't think. Let's check that, actually. Did we get through 2 last year? No, we didn't. Got through 1 last year. I think it was the same the year before, wasn't it? We had 1 game which we drew and got through because of our ranking, and then lost the second one. So it's not so much this game that we struggle with, it's the next one. Can we get through that and get to the furthest stage of these playoffs that we have managed this season? It's not just this game that we need. Pellegrini finds Estrella, but comes to nothing. Now, obviously, we go through at the moment, but 1 goal does change all that, so we do need to be careful. Let's get Nesta off for Rolla. Celli can make way for Sperotto. Estrella can make way for Castelli. And then Ramo can make way for Tahirovic. And that should be that. And we are just about going to make it through. For the 3rd year running, we go through purely based on our ranking. Not a great performance, but all that matters in the playoffs really is the result, and the result was good enough, so that's fine. We have Virtus Francavilla. We have a pretty decent record against them. We've never lost to them, so hopefully that's something we can continue. I'm guessing a draw may be enough there. Let me just check. Yes, we are. It is a draw. So if we keep that record of never having lost to Virtus Francavilla, then we will be through to the quarterfinals. No, we'll be through to the 3rd round, sorry. I thought it might be the quarterfinals, but it's not. We have an extra round on top of that. So we've still got 5 games to win to get promotion to Serie B. The chances are tiny. Don't get me wrong, this is not likely to succeed. But I will be with you soon in 4 days' time for the Virtus Francavilla game. See you then. So, in the 2nd round, we are mercifully at home, and once again we have the advantage of knowing that a draw will do for us. But of course, we would like to just win the game and have done with worrying about that. Pogliano leaving on free, I'd forgotten about that. I just wonder if our director of football can change that at all. Doesn't look likely at this stage. We are obviously right at the end of the season. In fact, this could be the last game. I hope it isn't. I've dropped Rolla for this game. I'm bringing in Gianmarco Nesta for what could be his final game for the club. So he's, of course, leaving at the end of the season, and if we lose, this is the end of the season. So let's try and make sure we keep winning. Virtus Francavilla will be tough opponents today. Francavilla made a good start in terms of having some shots, but we need to try and be a bit more careful in possession, I think. Be a bit more disciplined. Let's try and keep hold of the ball. I don't want to fall at the 2nd hurdle again. Virtus Francavilla, and they are through. They've scored, and I've just realised I should be having extended highlights on, really. There's 2 teams called Virtus playing, which is very confusing. Virtus something else, I think. Virtus Entella. Rather frustrating. Right, we need a goal. We've got less than an hour left. And if we don't score, we are out of it for another season. We've had chances. We need to start taking them. Otherwise, it will be game, set and match for us. Nesta's through and can only find the goalkeeper. I think that might be the first shot we've actually seen in terms of highlights. So we do need to do something about this because at the moment we are not playing particularly well. I wonder if Rolla can put his name into the history books here. Really have that moment to savour. Estrella has a chance but can't quite finish. One more from the side. Paolini crosses it and Estrella's there and we've got the equaliser. And as it stands, we go through. As it stands. Long way to go yet though. A bit more balanced. I'd like to just get another goal and make it a little bit more secure, but Celli doesn't quite manage to find the right head, although we do get a corner out of it. Mancini does hit over the bar from the second chance as well. Biondi, and Rolla's there. He's scoring goals from that back post so often, Rolla. It's good to see him doing that, both with his head and with his feet. And those goals are coming quite regularly now, and we are, I think, fairly safe now. 20 minutes to go, and we know that they need 2 goals to go through at this stage. We go through with a draw. Rolla finds Mancini, and that's no there. He's going to be the man of the match, I think. Take Estrella off because he's a little bit worried about his fitness. We'll bring on Castelli. So to score now, it would get a little bit iffy, but Rolla forward to Mancini. Roller again, back to Mancini. Time to bring Biondi off. Got Lat on the bench. Shelley finds Mancini, but it's not going in. This has actually been a very, very good second half. We've turned this around nicely. And as it stands, we're relatively comfortable. Of course, if they score, that will change. But right now, we're fairly comfortable. And the fact that they're down to 10 men now makes me think we should be able to see this out, really. In fact, really, we ought to be able to extend our lead and really forget about having to worry about anything to do with this playoff game. Think about what's going to happen next. Who knows which of these teams will be playing? Who do I want to avoid? I don't really know because I haven't played many of these teams. In fact, I'm not sure if I've played any of them except for Francavilla. I assume that that's because it's regionalised at the moment and won't be in the next round. But we are there, folks. For the first time, we've made it through to the third round of these playoffs. Feels ridiculous that I'm saying that, but I am. Super sub Roller. Good to see that he's a bit happier now because he wasn't so happy before. He was falling out a fair bit, and it's also interesting that my coaches think his ability is starting to increase, and we're once again thinking that maybe he could be an excellent player in the future. That was brought quite a bit down for a while, but I think various things have changed. You can see his training perhaps has increased a bit in terms of the quality of it, and he's starting to look like he could become a good player again. Who do we have next is the next question. Who do we have next? Let's find out. Stay on until the draw is made. It's a new gate receipts record as well. It's quite a big record as well, almost double the previous record. And here we go with the third round draw. We will have Triestina. Do not know who they are. I'm pretty sure I haven't played them yet. Not sure if I've played any of these teams. Avellino I've played. They're in my league, Monopoly. So I've played a couple of them. Oh, and Fidelis Andrea as well. So yeah, we will be back for the game against Triestina in 4 days' time. See you then. And here we are, returned again after a little bit of a shock, I'm afraid. I just found out that from the third round onwards, the ties are actually two-legged, which means we still have 7 games to go if we're going to get promoted. A 9-game playoff. This is 9 games of knockout to see who gets promoted, and only one team does. I mean, just call it a cup and have done with it. It's meant to be a league, folks. So, I mean, the one thing I would say is that it does take away some of the element of luck. It does mean that if I am the best team, I have a pretty good chance of getting through to the final. Obviously, the final is always going to be a bit of luck. So, I mean, I don't know whether I do have the best team. That's the problem. I may do. I guess the next few games will tell. Hopefully, the next 7 games. Right. So, here we go. We have Unione Sportiva Triestina, who I know nothing about. We've never played them, so it will be interesting to see if this is a team that we can beat. How do they do in Series C that they are in? In 4th. So they did pretty well, and actually they could easily have won the league. So tight end, goodness me, look at that. 11 points separating. Well, actually no, you could say 8 points separating 1st and 7th. That's pretty impressive. Exciting league. It does have the drawback, I suppose, of meaning they presumably were fighting right to the end, whereas we were kind of, well, we rather surrendered, to be honest. I wanted to be fighting to the end, but it did look for several games that we weren't going to win the league, certainly. And the last couple of games, we weren't going to be able to qualify for the quarterfinals either, which would have been nice. Obviously, if you'd asked me and you told me that we got to the playoffs, I would assume that we got to the quarterfinals, given that we had such a good first half of the season. So I would have thought we wouldn't even be playing in this round, but we very much are, and at the moment we're under the pump. Just taking pressure off a little bit, because this is bound to be a bit of a pressure game, given that they've never been to this stage before. DeLuca is through, and we've done well to cover that, but at the moment we are being pulled apart. We need to change something, and I'm not sure quite what. Pellegrini to Paolini. This goes nowhere. Angileri. Nesta. Can't find the cross. Vittorini to Angileri. And that's found Felipe Estrella, and he has not managed to find the net. But we have at least had a shot on target now. It's something. And now Nesta. Giandini picks it up and shoots, but doesn't really get very far. Nesta's injured, so we get Roller on. Does take away the decision about when to bring him on out of my hands. He's always going to do it at some point. Pellegrini to Roller, and he's almost scored with what must be one of his first touches. Roller has it again to Paolini, and Estrella's there, and Roller it's been disallowed. But Roller has had a fantastic start. Could have scored himself. Involved in a disallowed goal. A very, very good start. It was a pretty good first half, actually. It was a poor start, but the second half of the half certainly was very, very good. Vittorini takes the ball off the attacker. Can't quite launch an attack, but can we build from the back here? Pogliano to Biondi. Biondi into, I think it was Roller, and it was saved by the keeper. But Roller is actually doing rather well here, you know. If he can be the person to come up with the goods in these big games, then he could start to become a really, really important figure for us. Which is what I was hoping he would become when he first showed up, and he hasn't quite fulfilled that potential yet, but he's just showing some signs recently. Getting some more goals, getting involved in the play more. You've seen since he's come on today, he's been excellent. Whilst 3 goals and 3 assists isn't a great return, I think it's been mostly back-ended, and the end of the season has been very, very decent. He's had some games when he's been the only really good player in the side, and everyone else has been poor. What I haven't checked is whether there's away goals in this tie, because if there's not away goals, then this is a bad result. If there is, I think it's probably half decent, because you can then take a score draw away. You'd think it'd be easy to find out what the rules were, wouldn't you? No away goals at all. Extra time and penalties, but no away goals involved. It's good. Well, it might be good. It certainly makes it simpler, and I think most people agree now that away goals are probably a thing of the past. They've of course been abolished in the Champions League now, which is excellent. Given that away goals don't count to our book twice, I think we need to go for a goal here, because we know that home advantage does count significantly, so we need to try and make sure we get a goal at least. So making a quintuple substitution and see if we can grab this win at the end of the game. It'd be nice to be able to go there and know that we only need to draw the game to go through, rather than draw the game to get to penalties. Talking of which, Mantova 2-1 up with 2 penalties. It's interesting. Avellino representing my league well. For Alessandria drawing away from home, which isn't bad. Monopoly losing though. Sperotto. Paolini. And he's given the ball away. That was a really careless ball. That costs us a goal now in the last few seconds. I'll be very irritated. It doesn't. It's not a great result. It could have been worse, obviously, but it's not a great result. We'll have to see if that's going to be good enough. Gianmarco Nesta has broken his ankle, so Gianmarco Nesta's career with us is over because he's leaving at the end of the season. So, what a sad way to end, really. There's not a lot of point worrying about sending him to a specialist anyway. I know that's horribly cynical, but hey-ho. Interesting as well that he's been tipped to win the Player of the Year award as well. So it tells you how good a season he has had. It makes it even more frustrating that we're losing him. And, well, we could at least have got more money for him. I did try and sell him in January, just didn't happen. Right, who do we want to play today? I think we want to go with the same team, except Paolini for Gioldi. And Pellegrini maybe as well for Mancini. Castelli. So it is now a one-leg game. Having drawn that first game, obviously, and no away goals, it means that it's just a single-leg game. We are away from home. So you would think it's advantage Triestina, but all it takes is a goal or two and we start to look like big favourites. Just going to give Roller a bit of a encouragement because, damn it, frustrated him. I just feel like his self-belief is a little bit lacking at times because I know he can do such amazing things and then he just sort of drifts out of games. When he gets involved, he's fantastic. There's not a lot of point in him being there sometimes. Roller's there. Snatched it a bit, maybe. Could have put it the other side and I think the keeper would have been very pushed to be there. Del Negro is through. Now putting us under a lot of pressure at the moment. Gildy, though. Be nice if we could grab a goal. Roller crosses in, and we have a decent chance there. Roller again showing that he is capable of producing these moments of magic. Let's do it a bit more often. Vittorini. Kamara through, but no, it's going nowhere. We've gone through 2.25 hours now, and plus some injury time, without a single goal in this tie. We do need to shoot more. I think that's pretty clear for everyone to see. Celli finds a Strella. It's cleared away fairly easily by the Triestina defence. Biondi is going to make way for Latelat. Celli, which is in, and Rollo is there, but Freddy is there to save it. Passing that night round nicely, and a great save. No, it wasn't a save by Blair. I thought that was a save, but it wasn't. It's gone over the top. Stanger, of course, as with a face in the game, could end up quite easily being the only player we ever have in this team with a face, other than the generated ones, of course. We're getting to the point where it won't be long before I won't be signing any real players anymore. At the moment, he's the only one, I believe. I don't think I've had anyone with a face yet. Looks like we might be going to extra time here, unless there's going to be a sting in the tail. Negro to Coppola. Benetti. Oof. Right, doesn't look like there's going to be anything here, but I may have spoken too soon. Trotto's through, and he misses it. They've missed a few good chances, you know. Probably been a bit lucky here. We do get through this. It's a big slice of fortune that's come our way today. We also have not done much up front. The 2 strikers have been poor. Need to put that right, because we've had plenty of chances. Just got to put one away. To be fair, they could have said the same thing. We may have had more, but they've had plenty. We could really do with Gianmarco Nesta. Sadly, we don't have him. Could play Paolini on the right wing, but that's iffy. I'm going to have to stick with Roller. He's playing well, he's just a bit knackered. Roller's through. Oof. Could be his moment. Half time and extra time. If we manage to go through over 3.5 hours of football without a single goal in this tie, it will be quite spectacular. Fans of Handmaid's Tale. Interesting name here. Oof. That's gone wide. Goodness me, this is tight. I can't bring him off. Kamara can come off for Paolini. And that's the last substitution we can make. And it does look like that it will be that, and we're going to penalties. Unless we can do something else. Perotto can't make anything happen there. Gioldi, oof, one last chance. And it will be penalties now. So, we've got 3 11s. I think you probably go with the first 3, don't you? Just because if you miss the first 3, or if you score the first 3, you don't need any more. Potentially, anyway. We've got Latilat, and I'll go with someone with more composure. Who's like Pogliano. Yeah, okay, he's two less on the penalties, but they're quite low anyway, and he's got the most composure. So I think I will go with him. And then I will go with Angeleri, and then if I have to, Francesco Rolla. Just imagine. Team talk. Leave no room for regret. Oh, this is big. This is big. I know it's only the 3rd round, but it would be lovely to get through here. Triestina start off with a goal. Mancini. He misses. I thought that had hit the net, but it didn't. Mancini misses, but De Luca scores. Gioldi now with a bit of pressure puts that away. We need a save. Come on, Bleve. Nearly gets there for that one, but can't quite manage it. Castelli with the pressure now puts that away. Come on, Bleve. Coppola comes forward. Bleve dives out of the way of that one, and it's not looking good, folks. We are now on the point where anything goes their way and they win it. We need to get next 3 have to go our way. We've got to score, save, score. Otherwise, that's that. Latilat. scores, so 1 out of 3. We need all 3. This being the most difficult one. Blevik, can he make the save? Volta scores. Blevik got close to a couple of them. A bit unlucky. And unfortunately, our playoff dream has ended for another year. I can't complain. It was obviously a tough game for Triestina. They're a good side. Perhaps could have won the Girone. But ultimately, they were just a little bit too much for us. And that's the way it goes, I guess. It's a shame. It's a shame. So, we will be back tomorrow for, I think it will just be a transfer special and probably the first game of the season. As you can tell, I'm a bit down about that. I was starting to feel like the momentum was with us. And, yeah, I know there was a long way to go. I need to remind myself that. There was going to be some tough games to come. Because there was such a long way to go, the chances were that we would eventually succumb to a defeat. There are a lot of positives to be taken from that season, I think. In terms of the points, we've gone from 58 to 63 down to 70 in the 3 seasons we've been there. And if we can get another 10 points maybe next season, then we'll be probably looking at promotion. 81 didn't quite get guaranteed promotion in the first season. But any other year, 80 would have been enough. So, yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Do come back tomorrow. We will see what we get in, how we can push for. I think at this point it now does need to be a real push for the league title, because you've just seen how difficult this is. Even if we got to the quarterfinal, from there it's difficult. It's not going to be easy. You lose a penalty shootout. You have a bit of bad luck. You have a missed opportunity to score a goal. There's all sorts of ways that you can go out in these playoffs. So I need to try and win this league. So I'll be back tomorrow. Hope you join me. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.